Hi there, I'm Dani Henderson. Welcome back to my beautiful disclosure channel. My guest today is the one and only Corina Pataki. We're going to give you a brief synopsis of her incredible life thus far, and we're going to cover the incredible experience that she had with Dr. Michael Salla and Elena Danaan in the Bucegi Mountains just a week ago. Corina Pataki, my darling friend, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a pleasure and honor to get to see you and to be on your beautiful, wonderful channel. So thank you for having me.
Well, you are so loved and you've done so much great work. And we were just saying that you spoke at GISIC 2022, our Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection, did a beautiful job. And then it was great this year because obviously I have to have different speakers every year. You can't have the same people every single year. And you were mentioned on stage with Melanie Charret in her one of her child rescue missions. And that was a beautiful moment. And when she finished her beautiful presentation, I said to the audience, and you guys know Corina Pataki, and more than half the audience raised their hand. So it's so lovely that there's so many other people that know the work that you're doing. So, but let's again never assume that people watching this know who you are and the work you've
Mhm.
done. So what we'll do is I'll just hand over to you and give us as much as is possible a synopsis of your life as a little girl in communist Romania.
Thank you. Yes, so I was born in communist Romania during obviously communism. And my birth was quite, to say the least, interesting. And as you know, Danny, where I shared with you last time we were recording, that I started having memories 2 years ago. So, my birth again was quite unusual, but nevertheless, let's continue on. So, because communist Romania, you are not allowed freedom of religion, you are not allowed to spread your wings, you are not allowed to have your own thought process. Basically, you were told what to do, you were told when to do it, how to do it. When I was 7 years old, my parents decided, based on the promises of God, as we grew up Christian, to take us to the land of the free. Now, this is where a lot of miracles started happening because we have attempted to escape Romania twice. I was 7 years old. I'm the youngest of three siblings, the only girl. And this time we lost my dad on the border. The second time we were captured, 8 months after the first attempt, we were captured. And the story is so huge. I mean, you're talking about not only supernatural intervention from the spirit realm, but as memories start coming back, and as I was collaborating with my parents and my brothers, I've realized, Danny, that there was a human intervention in our protection, my protection, and my family's protection from people in higher level in the government that were above the Securitate, which were the ones that were the gatekeepers of the population, the Romanians during that time. So, putting all these things together, I did write my book, and I have the third edition where, these memories, I started putting these memories back because, Danny, I felt that it's important for me to, it's almost like a written testimony of these memories, not only for people that are getting memories themselves and they don't know what to do with it. They think they're crazy, or if they run to the church says that they're demonically possessed or stupid stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it's more of a I put it in there so people that have memories, they can say, oh my gosh, wait a minute, so that was not just a dream, oh, that was not just something that came in my head, there's something there. And that they go within themselves and they try to awaken, because we are all in a process of awakening. So that was the first reason I put it in there. The second reason was, for me, it's almost like me putting those memories in the book was like a level for me to see that it's there. And then I don't know how to explain it, so I hope I'm doing a good job. And then for me to step on that platform at that level and go higher. In other words, go higher to other memories that will come. And the third one is, Danny, I was putting them in there to put a beacon for the ones that are connected to see the beacon so that the connection can happen and we can do the things that we need to do, the things that I have agreed to come on this and on this planet to do, because like we were talking, we're all connected. We are all connected. We all have keys. We all have pieces of the puzzle. And when you connect with the ones that you have agreed to connect with and come and do the same type of missions, it's powerful because united we stand, divided we fall. So anyway, so this is, so this my life story that I have, the autobiography and the quest for freedom, it has so much I think so much hope, Danny, because in the midst of, yes, we had guns put to our head. Yes, we had to cross mud canals. But like, for instance, a cloud appeared in the sky at night when my parents realized that they were going in a circle, because we had a map. They had a map that they had to follow to cross from the Romanian border into Yugoslavia. Well, all of a sudden, pitch dark, my parents, my dad and the other gentleman, because there was a couple that came with us with a 6-month-old baby, they stopped, they looked at the map and they realized we're going in circles. And, time is ticking. You're on the border, the sun, the dawning of a new day is coming. You have to get off, you have to cross over. So we all stopped and we prayed to be led. And all of a sudden, a cloud appeared, not a big one, but a cloud, Danny, appeared in the sky. And I remember there was a huge mud canals because the border was full of booby traps, was full of guards, were full of wolf dogs, full of mud canals. And there was this huge mud canal that we had to cross. And this cloud literally went over the mud canal. It waited for us to cross. It stopped and it waited for us to cross. And as we crossed, it continued ahead of us till we got on the right path and then it disappeared. So things like this, the whole book is filled with supernatural things, again, from the spirit realm, but also people that were there to protect me and my family, to make sure that we are protected and that eventually we get out of Romania. And I know that was for my protection. So there's a lot of amazing things. I've experienced a lot of supernatural things. I've experienced a lot of connections where it was beyond what is normal. It's beyond that. So that's kind of, that is who has made me to who I am today, I can say. All those trials, seeing death, having those wolf dogs that were right there. My feet were bleeding. I couldn't see my mom. I couldn't see anybody. It was pitch dark. We just had to continue to crawl on our stomach. And all of a sudden, I hear these wolf dogs around me. And I know what wolf dogs do. I mean, I knew it. They would starve them, and you were their meal. And I lost my shoes in the mud canals. The grass was cutting my feet. So my feet were literally raw and bloodied. And here they were surrounding me. And, what do I do? And I was shown, I didn't see it because it was pitch dark. So I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. That's how dark it was. But I sensed, I felt, I saw in my spirit that there was a small, tiny bush. So I got behind the bush in a fetal position. And I remember saying, please, Father, take me out. I don't want to feel them ripping my throat out, because they were so close to me. They were breathing on me. I can feel them. I can feel their breath on me. And I was taken out of my body. So for just about an hour, I was out of my body. And I know why, because that trauma, can you imagine what that does to a 7-year-old child? To be there for an hour, which would seem like an eternity, with those wolf dogs sniffing you, and that horror of, they're going to tear you apart any minute. So I was taken out, and I came back in my body when my mom was holding me, crying over me. So, things like this. I mean, insane, amazing protection that we've had. So, all of that has shaped me into, I believe, who I am today. And was it fun? No. Was it hard? Horribly hard. Would I take it back? No, I wouldn't. It's just because it builds us. It builds the strength in us, and endurance. So yeah.
It's so incredible. It is such a explosive, impactful, emotional roller coaster of a journey from that little girl. And you go into detail about how the government targeted you from birth and at 2 years old and at 4 years old and at 7 years old. And, there are many children on the planet, now adults, who've been individually targeted their whole lives. They know the DNA, they know the bloodline, they know the lineage, they know the ancestry, because there's always going to be, as well as has been, this knowledge of this death fight that we are still in, this spiritual war, this physical war. And today, as you and I talk, me in England, you in America, it's the election, right? It's
Yep.
Harris and Trump. And yeah, so this is a big day. And look at, there'll be so many people that won't be able to focus on it because their lives have been trashed, and
Absolutely.
hurt by the weather manipulation that people go, snigger, snigger, that's climate change, that's global warming. And those who have a mind to look past all the propaganda that we're force fed, they'll
Mhm.
recognize it. No, there's at least 11 harps, higher auroric, oh my God, research program, higher auroric something research program, which is the weather manipulation system. And
Yeah.
people can't imagine that it's possible to move the wind, move the tides, move this, move that. Like, doesn't the moon do that? Well, does it?
Of
Now we know
course.
about the moon as well. Yeah, it's many different things, but all bringing
Yeah.
back to the point that Corina Pataki, your role in disclosure in the many levels is profound. Now, let's touch briefly on when you spoke at GISIC 2020. Was it 2023? Yeah, 2023, right?
2023.
Right. I
Yes,
think I
yes,
said 22 earlier. Sorry.
yes.
Um,
Okay.
you shared religious information and the decoding of the Bible, and you really are a really invested um, Bible scholar. Give us a synopsis of what you shared at GISIC 2023, please.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I've been a Christian minister since 2007. I launched the ministry, all of that stuff. But I've always known, even since I was a little girl, that, I've had a different connection with a different God, Father, than what I heard in the church, especially in the Romanian church. It's very authoritative. It's very, if you don't do this, I'm going to take a switch. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to, to correct you, all that kind of stuff. So it never sat right with me. But speeding forward, 2016, I was really presented the truth of the fact and the truth that the God of the Old Testament, and we see that woven in some in the New Testament, is not the same that Jesus was talking about. It is not. It is a different entity. It's an evil wannabe God that has manipulated and masqueraded as a father, yet all along he was into bloodshed, he was into sacrifice. I'm going to say human sacrifice as well. He was into just punishment. He was into calamity. He's, and there's scriptures that says, can there be a calamity and an evil in a city and Yahweh had not caused it? So all the calamities that we read about in the Old Testament were caused by Yahweh. So as it has evolved, this knowledge has evolved. When I was so wonderfully invited to GSEC in 2023, and I was kind of thinking what I need to bring to present the truth, the next level of truth, it was very clear to me, Dani, as I was reading the Bible, that this Antichrist, that the Christians have been so, oh my gosh, this is the devil, and oh my gosh, we have to be careful. And because we have to be careful because it says that even the most elect can be fooled. Dani, researching scripture with scripture, that's all I did. I took Bible reference scriptures with Bible reference, and I compared them. And when I compare them, I realized that this Antichrist, this dragon of the book of Revelation, is actually Yahweh. And the ones that are the most elect that will be fooled is not the people out there. Unfortunately, it's the Christians, us, the Christians. We have been the most fooled. So then I started looking at scripture and comparing them. And it's like, wait a minute, Yahweh in the Old Testament has a sign on the forehead and the hand. It is Yahweh's sign. Then I went to the book of Revelations. Wait a minute. The beast, the dragon, and the Antichrist has a sign on the head and the forehead, on the hand and the forehead. So I literally took characteristics of Yahweh and paralleled them, literally, that's all I did, with the characteristics of the book of Revelations, the Antichrist and the dragon and the beast and the false prophet. So what I did is I brought them together and I presented it, and there is absolutely no doubt. So it was unveiling the Antichrist, the book of Revelations, Antichrist dragon, Yahweh, who is Yahweh. There is no question, if you just look at mere scripture, that these two are not one and the same. So that was something I presented. It was a shock. I mean, it's a shock for Christians. It is a shock. But this is the thing, only truth will set us free. And it's high time that we as Christians, and I'm talking to the beautiful audience, it's so high time that we as Christians, we awaken and we break free out of the illusions and the imprisonment that we have been bound in for generation after generation after generation. And we break the contract that we have made, unbeknownst to us, with this entity that pretended and masqueraded himself to be the Father, but we've actually made covenant with death. So then we as Christians look in our family, we look in our situation, and we're like, why is there only death, destruction, death here, death there, death to our finances, death to our health, death to relationships? That because we have, unbeknownst to us, made a covenant with this entity. And Dani, there's a scripture that says, my creation, my children perish due to lack of knowledge. So this is why I'm so passionate about bringing this truth. Has it been easy? Heck no. I've lost platforms. I lost friends. I lost so much, but I'm not one to compromise. So this is the thing, you guys, truth shall set us free. But let me tell you something, truth will not always be pleasant. Truth will not always be pleasant. It's going to hurt. It's going to make us angry. It's going to shake the very core of our foundation. So Dani, that's what I was honored to present a G6, the truth of Yahweh actually being the one that Christians have feared, the Antichrist, the dragon, but here we have been worshiping him all along. So we have actually been the ones that have been fooled the most. So that's what I presented.
Yeah, and it's very powerful. It is so devastating for anyone, especially if you've been a child and programmed and grown up with a religion that you are told this is the route through. Your whole life, if you behave and you follow this and you give your heart or your soul to this, then you are going to have eternal life and all of this. And then you come to find out that it's all been manipulated in so many areas, and it's devastating. Nobody wants to be wrong. No one. Nobody wants to think that they've believed like I did, evangelical, Pentecostal, their whole lives. And it is such a hard thing. And then you get all the vicious, angry men in particular that come for us because we've got courage. You've got courage to speak in different ways. Something interesting happened the other day, like everything, obviously, you and I are discussing, it's all pertaining to the now. It's all pertaining to truth, disclosure of every system, the satanic occult, the evil, the Enlil versus the Enki, the ear. And Tucker Carlson the other day was doing a documentary, and he said that he was in bed with his wife and 4 dogs, and he got attacked by a demon.
Wow.
My puppy's loose here. He got attacked by a demon, and he got scratched, and he was in, and he got out of bed, and his wife and dogs, these are his words, are light sleepers. They didn't wake up, and it scared him, as it would understandably scare him. And he didn't really know what it was. Then he found himself turning to the light, right? Because he's scared. What do I do? I've been attacked. So I'm watching this. And because I've had so much experience with the demonics, and exorcisms and blessings and possessions, my whole life, I'm watching this thinking, well, because you've been disruptive, because you shone a light across the screen of the dark ones in the systems, because you went on your own, because you broke away, and you're considered a massively important voice, whether we believe everything he says or not. They did spells on you. They did magic on you. They sent demonics after you, right? It was a planned attack. It was a psychic attack, but a really, really dark, deep, low vibrational. We're talking witches and warlocks and priests and priestesses, right? Well, this other little show on YouTube pops up, and there's a very well-known exorcist, and he said the through line that I've heard my whole life, which to me is absolute bollocks. Bollocks. And this. God allowed that demon to scratch Tucker Carlson, to bring him to God. The demons don't get to do anything without God. And that is such BS and nonsense.
Yeah,
Now, what is that doing? Again, it's the through line of the Enlil
it
murderers.
sure is.
You are going to suffer. God's going to make you suffer through a demon because you will bend your will and give up your soul to the God that's going to hurt you. Wow, dude,
Yeah.
when are we going to be done with that horror? Goodness me.
Yeah, Danny, this is the truth is that um even Jesus was very, very clear. And I think what Christians don't get, some of them, not all of them, because there's a lot of them awakening, is Jesus literally looked at the Pharisees, so at the Levitical priesthood, who were the priests of Yahweh, Enlil, and he told them, your father is not my father. Your father is not my father. Your father is the devil. So what we see going on from the get-go, from the foundation of religion, of Christianity that has happened, is that the manipulation and the control that they have done to keep people bound and to keep them on their knees and to tell them you're nothing, you have no power, you need me. And you see that woven throughout Christianity, Danny. This is until we don't wake up, and we realize this is not a good father. Danny, a good father would never want his child or a good mother to bow their knee in fear. Never. All a good father wants is relationship. So the fact that this person that you're talking about said that, oh, God sent that demon. Yeah, that's what Enlil, Yahweh, that's what he has done throughout the scripture. That's what he has done throughout the writings that we've received, that we then embrace as the word of God, because it's God's word. No, it's not. It's the word and the deeds of an evil wannabe entity that has masqueraded himself as a father, and as God, that's connected with fear and torture. Oh my God, look at that baby.
She
Oh
is
my
an
God.
absolute monkey butt. Sorry. She's
That's
going mad.
okay.
And my dog sitter that I, get to watch the dog while I'm doing broadcasting. This little girl is out of control. She's
So
out of control,
adorable.
but
She's
she's
so
so cute.
adorable. Oh my God, she's precious.
Thank you. But yeah,
Oh
no,
my God.
sorry, continue. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you there.
no, 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 no. So it is just frustrating, and we need to understand that until this matrix of lies is broken, let's just say it needs to be broken. In this disclosure movement, the disclosure that needs to happen very, very soon, and it's very important, is the disclosure in religion, and in particular in Christianity, the Judeo-Christian faith. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's magical. And again, you and I, whenever we get together, we do have very, deep seated,
Yeah.
down to the cellular level, ancestral, long bloodlines, like information, to share. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I'm very excited, because so many things about you. So, for example, when you were sharing your beginning, origin story of how you
Mhm.
were, in so many ways, part of this government, marked child,
Yeah.
in so many ways, and that you were saved by a commander from being ripped apart by the wolf dogs that had already decided to leave you alone anyway. And like you said, other families were arrested, trying to escape, killed, murdered, maimed.
Mhm.
You grew up in terror, knowing that you were
Yeah.
going to die, and yet your parents,
Yep.
something in them drove them to save you and your brothers, get you to
Yeah.
safety of America. And the work that you've done since then. And this is so much about you, Corina Pataki,
Mm.
not just your sweetness and your beauty and your brilliance, but your energetic frequency that is unmistakable, and
Mm.
you're emotional.
Yeah.
You're like me, you're a bit of a
Yeah.
crybaby, but that's a good thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cry when I'm angry, cry when I'm happy, cry when I'm, just joyous. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
Right, I know exactly. And we look schizophrenic, but we're not. It's just feelings and emotions going through. At least we're honest and don't pretend to be
Of
something
course.
we're not, on YouTube. Is we're completely unedited. I love that about us. Um, so I wanted to
Yeah.
get to moving along to when you were a little girl and some of the
Yes.
dreams you had about being in the chair. Can you take us there and then make that fit with obviously the
Yes. Yes. Somebody wants to give you sugars. Lots of sugars. Oh my gosh. So precious. Yes. So the memories that started coming back, February will be 2 years. And these were not this one that I'm talking about now was not a dream. It was literally a memory that I was observing. Um, sorry, it's so cute.
Sorry.
Um, so and when I got, let me just say this, when I started getting these memories, it was almost like Dani, I was pulled up and I was able, like remote viewing. Okay. I was pulled up and I was able to watch a memory of my life. So I was an observer of that memory. And this happened for days and days and days and hours and hours and hours. So in particularly with this particular memory that came, um, then I was able to go back and ask my parents certain things that I remembered and they were able to verify. For instance, just really fast before I go into this memory, at when I was in nursery school. Okay, so in Romania, nursery is probably maximum till 2 years old and younger, because then you start kindergarten, first level, middle level, third level of kindergarten. Yes, and then you start school. So I was in nursery class. I was in nursery school, and the director from the nursery came to my parents and told my parents, the government has given a program which has never been heard of, Dani, has never been heard of since then. The government has given a program to where they are paying for us to take certain children to the Black Sea. So that's when I was taken without my parents for 12 days to the Black Sea. So things start happening. So as I got these memories, which I'm going to talk about, I also was able to correlate reality, things that happened to me in the natural that were not memories, but were literally happened. And then I was able to put them with the memories, if that makes sense, to kind of see the bigger picture. So now this particular memory that where I saw myself, and this had to do with, let me say this, when I was 4 years old, I went with my parents to the Black Sea, and twice in 3 days. So first day, I was taken off of the beach at the Black Sea between 8 to 10 hours by the good ones. I know that. The second day, everything was okay. The third day, exactly the same thing happened. I was taken from the Black Sea off the beach between 8 to 10 hours. So now the memory that came with it, because I wanted to know what happened, was that I saw myself, I was taken inside a mountain somewhere in the very core of a mountain. It was a circular type of room. The walls were extremely smooth walls, very, very smooth. And they had keys, like keys of a computer board, keys all around the wall. And in the middle was a chair. Now the chair looked, for the viewers to understand, more like, it looked like a dentist chair, but very modern. Okay. And when I went in there, I sat on the chair and I was told, Corina, release your frequency. So I started making sounds. And as I started making sounds, Dani, all of a sudden these keys on the wall started lighting up, making sounds, making a song, if you will. And they spun around and around. The lights became like one, because it was spinning fast, and a portal opened. A portal opened in front of me. So there were two beings at the top of my head and two beings at the bottom. And they literally pulled out these strands that they separated. They were so gentle, like, thin strand. And they were unknotting it and doing like this, looking at it. And each strand was a different color. And that's when I was told that these strands, 24 strands, were my 24 strand DNA. And they all had a different color. So as they were doing this with it, just looking at it, very gentle. All of a sudden, the strand went up in that portal that was open in the cosmos, and it went and it was connecting to a different star system that had that particular frequency or color. So, sorry, I put my phone down because it was ringing. So this is when I was told, Corina, because in another memory that I had 2 years prior, I was told that I came from Esicora. And I asked Elena, I was like, what is Esicora? Have you heard of Esicora? I said, so for all that time, I was searching, trying to figure out what is Esicora? What star system? What is that? So now in this memory, I was told, Corina, Esicora is not a place. It's a group, it's a council of elders, or it's a council. And that has to do with these 24 star systems that your DNA is connected to. I don't know what that was. I don't understand it until later on. You know, it's like, now I understand it. It's the cedars, the 24 cedars. So that was that memory. So that's the chair that I was in. And I know that one of the abilities that the evil ones, when I was in nursery, that they tried to unlock when they took me to the Black Sea for 12 days, Dani, to take a baby 2 years old or under without the parents for 12 days, literally crossing the country from where I lived to take me to the Black Sea is insane. Now, this is where I know that I was taken 12 days on Earth, but I was taken off planet somewhere. So it was longer. Now, in this one, they tried to unlock my ability to alter timelines to bring about their reality, and they couldn't. So at the age of 4, when I was taken by the good ones at the Black Sea, when I was taken inside the earth, inside a mountain somewhere, they tried to repair. They also repaired what these ones damaged as they were trying to force my ability when I was in nursery. So that kind of makes sense. So it's, yeah, very, very amazing. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, it's
There you
like
go.
listening to the script of an incredibly brilliant film that you couldn't even bring to mind. Oh my God, that's so amazing. Wow, that piece fits there and that piece fits there.
Mhm.
But this is your literal life,
Yeah.
Corina Pataki, literal life. You um, the fact that you were remembering and that the strands were being removed, and I know that you confirmed so much with Elena Danaan, who you were in the Bucegi Mountains with
Yeah.
last week, and Dr. Michael Salla. Let's take a step back again here because the key, like I've got you in my phone as Corina Pataki, Romanian key. So when we met a few years ago, that's what I put you in my phone as because of one particular story that you told me that stuck in my heart and I can never stop thinking about it when I connect with you. And that is well, you tell the story, you know the one I mean.
Yes, I know. Oh my gosh, yes. So in 2006, I took a team from America to Romania to do some spiritual work. And we were going on our way to Sighișoara, which is the birth town, beautiful city, the birth town of Vlad the Impaler, aka Dracula. Okay. So on the way there, we stopped in Hunedoara just to stretch our legs. And the person that drove us decided just to stop at this Hunedoara castle. And I mean, Dani, I haven't even finished second grade in Romania, so I don't know much about the history or, honestly, I was so tired. I didn't care. It's like, let's just get to our destination. Nevertheless, we had to stop. We stopped and they told us that the castle is closed. They just closed the castle, no more tours. But what they said is if you want to just run in very fast and run back out just so you can see it. So me and the team, we ran in, we came back out. And as we were in that parking place, waiting to get back in the van, we were in a circle, all of us just kind of chit-chatting a little bit before we entered the van. And Dani, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this little gentleman, elder gentleman, thin, petite, salt pepper hair, piercing blue eyes, dressed as somebody like as a peasant would dress to go on Sunday to the market or Saturday to the market. So He literally came into the circle, went into the circle, looking in my eyes the whole time. He was piercing in my eyes. And Danny, when he entered the circle, all of our ability to think or process any information was gone, gone. And the only thing I did, he came to me staring straight in my eyes with a long skeleton key and a seal. And just instinctively, I did this. He placed it in my hand. And the only thinking ability that two of the girls had, one of them is Lisa, my dear friend, was to take pictures. Thank God they took those pictures because I have the proof. I'm not crazy. So they took the pictures. And after that, Danny, I could not even think to look at the indentation in the seal. Now, knowing me, I would like ask a gazillion questions. I could not even think that. So what I just did after the pictures were taken, I placed them back in his hand. Now, the whole time he was piercing in me. I put it back in his hand. He backed up, turned around, walked out of the circle. The moment he walked out of the circle, our abilities to think came back. And what I did is I turned to see him, to run to him, to ask him, what is this? May I please look at it? He was gone. He dematerialized. Now, as I said, I have the picture, so there's proof, because your mind sometimes shreds information that you don't utilize. So I'm so glad that I have that picture. So yes, this was an amazing moment, though this was 2006. I did not know what that meant. I didn't know what to do with it for probably 12 years. And now, last week, basically, for us to be able to go back, and this time Elena and Dr. Salla to join, to go back to that same place where I was given that key and that seal 18 years ago, is just remarkable, remarkable. So yeah, incredible. Can't hear you.
Sorry. So tell us more about why you and Dr. Salla and Elena Danaan even thought to go to Romania together last week.
Well, it started off as something that was very interesting because Elena was invited to do some recordings for Global News Romania. And normally you do them through Zoom, if you're not in Romania, you do them through Zoom. And I told Elena said, if I need to, I can go to Romania. And I said, all of a sudden, this thing in me is like, oh my gosh. Now, this was like in May or June, okay? And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, Elena, we're planning a trip to Romania in October. And she was like, oh my gosh, Corina, okay, I'm gonna come. So see, that's how it started. But I knew, and she knew that it was something more that was going to unfold. And then she messaged me, she said, Dr. Michael Salla would love to join us. So at that moment, I was like, okay, this is something huge that needs to happen. Because you don't just gather these important, Dr. Salla and Elena, these huge keys, unless there is a reasoning for the keys to get together on a specific portal or in a specific nation. So that was how it started. Now, what unfolded from there into last week was a totally different story. Elena got to validate and see what really is in that land, especially under Bucegi, under the Sphinx. So the Dr. Salla and Elena and I got to connect and probe and kind of look together and see what's inside there. And the other thing is that I absolutely love, Elena became a witness for some of the things that pertain to the reasoning that I came and who I am, why I came now and what I carry. So it's a multifaceted reasoning for all of us getting together and being in Romania last week. So from here, we can jump into anything. Unmute yourself.
Goodness me. It was so beautiful to see the three of you on top, right there, right where that Sphinx is behind you. Um, you could tell just by watching it, you're in another dimension. It's like a multi-dimensions. And, those of us who are sensitive, who are empathic, who have that we see things differently to most people with our naked eye. It was enthralling and thrilling, and you couldn't have planned it. You couldn't have made that any more beautiful. It was like you were on the moon or you were on Mars, or which are both inhabited by tons of military people and several hundred slaves that is also coming out here. And a lot of people know about it, especially the military and the governments who think they're getting away with stuff. Oh my goodness. Good luck with that
Yeah.
one, boys and girls. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your literal walking to the Sphinx. What started to happen in your body?
Yeah, so when we got off that, whatever it's called, you go up on the mountain, and when we got off onto the mountain, I mean, Danny, the frequency and the vibration that was coming from within the ground up my body was insane. I could barely stand up. I was shaking, and I can hear a sound, a high-pitched sound, but at the same time, I can feel a boom, 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 a pulsating, a heart pulsating. And these two frequencies were so strong that I could barely walk. My legs were shaking, and let's say I don't pretend anything. There's a thing in Christendom, which I know where, people fall over or they pretend that they're, hit by the spirit just because it's a cool thing to do. That kind of thing. I've never done that. So what I literally felt, I can barely walk. So Elena was ahead of me and Dr. Salla, and because I was having such a hard time, the frequency was so strong. And I felt like what I felt and heard was welcome home. And so I started crying, and to all these emotions, hearing the frequency and feeling the heartbeat and my body reacting to it. So I finally caught up with Elena. There was a table there where they set up their equipment. And she said to me, "Do you hear it?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, do you hear it?" And exactly what I heard, she confirmed she heard without us talking about it. It's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, and this, and it sounds like this, and you feel, you feel this." And so it was a tangible, palpable feeling that overtook my body and Elena as well. So it was incredible. Now, it's interesting because when I was there in April, I did not feel what I felt this time. This time was it had increased so strong to where, again, I could barely stand up. And not in a bad way. It's just, especially when I heard welcome home. So yeah.
Oh my God, it's just so wonderful when that happens, when our cells, our souls remember that. Like, I remember the first time being conscious, like, because we're Scottish, we were in Scotland, I was 9 years old, and all of a sudden I was compelled at 9 to kiss the ground.
Yeah.
And I kissed the ground. My parents were like, "What are you doing, you silly girl?" And I didn't know what that was. My heart, my connection to Scotland. I'm a Henderson, we're very proud
Uh-huh.
Celts. And then I
Love it.
remember when I was landing the first time in Kauai, one of the Hawaiian Islands, as I'm landing, I heard a voice that said, "We're home." And it had profound, as
Wow.
I've spoken about. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. Now, there are sphinxes and there are pyramids in every country pretty much on the planet. They are technology, they are ancient technology. It is said that the Chinese, who won't let anyone near their pyramids, found technology. People go, "Oh, yeah, but they were so much more advanced thousands of years ago than we are today." And that is a fact. If you want to open your mind and stop being butthurt about being
Yeah.
wrong, it's okay. I was wrong about everything too. How's that? It's amazing. So there is this space race, there's space fleets, there's all this great stuff going on, negative stuff going on, death fight. But people like you, Elena Danaan, Dr. Michael Salla, you three had to be the symbiosis of the three elements, the three energies, of you in particular, you three, as seekers of truth, as people who've landed so much energetic work, frequency, truth, disclosure on the planet. And it's so multi-layered. It's so multi-layered. And a lot of people, because they're still on the journey, we all are, including myself, they don't recognize there's layer after layer after layer after layer. They might see one or two layers. They can't see more than that. It's like the people who weren't at our Galactic Spiritual Informers conference. They did not witness with their own eyes the many spacecraft diving, twisting, turning, flashing green lights, the euphoric crowd screaming, oh my God, oh my God. The TR-3B military triangular craft that went over the crowd, right? Proving the good ETs are working with the good military. And there's nothing anyone is going to do about it. But the people that don't have the bandwidth, they don't want to be wrong because they're all wrong. UFOs and ETs and other beings do exist inner Earth, on the surface and upstairs. They are fighting and they're attacking and like fools, like absolute zombified fools, and they're all showing who they are. But also, there were a few people at the event because they weren't the one to bring the spacecraft, because their name wasn't tattooed on the side of it. They actually said it was birds. Now, any banana brain saw birds. Alex Collier said there's lots of bats there, but you know. It's like, really, we really have to address this, you ding-dongs. A bat, a bird, you know, a gnat, a mosquito, a spacecraft.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
are you serious,
Yeah.
my little sad puppy? Please,
Wow.
live, go on. Go stand in your little shoes in the corner, you silly person. I love that, Monty Python. I fart in your general direction. Your mother, she was a guinea pig, you know. It's like, it's so ridiculous because, you know, but people, it's a chance to have a look at their unhealed rage, their murderous rage. And, you know, not everyone has the big missions like you guys do. You got to be okay with that. It's okay. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
but
journey. And they wouldn't want to
yeah,
be you, Corina. They wouldn't want to be you.
you know, this is the thing. Okay, I'm gonna address two things. So number one, what I wanted to say is every single person that's watching, all of you beautiful ones that are watching, you all have a piece, you all have a mission, you all have a blueprint with many mandates in it. Now, you have to walk your particular blueprint, and your blueprint may not look like your neighbor's blueprint or your loved one's blueprint or, you know, Elena's blueprint or Danny's blueprint. But that's okay because your blueprint that you came with is very, very important. And it's crucial that you fulfill it. Because if you don't fulfill that blueprint, guess what? You leave an empty spot in there that is needed for the greater good of humanity because we are all links. All of us should be links. So that means your mandate, your blueprint, and the mandates in it is connected to mine, is connected to you know, the other person. So in other words, we all are united. And if I want to jump, oh, I don't think my blueprint is important enough, so I'm going to jump and try to do your blueprint. This is when society falls down. This is when division comes, and this is when the dark ones are able to step in and take over. So that's, you know, that's something I just want to encourage every single one of you. Find out your blueprint. And if you know your blueprint, look at the different mandates. So blueprint is like a book, and the different mandates are like pieces of papers in a book. What are you supposed to do within who you are in this moment in time and fulfill that? And this is how we connect. This is how we bring about the greater good for humanity. And the other thing, Danny, is I forgot the other point that you were saying that I wanted to address. But I think this is so important for us to, oh yeah, how the heck can somebody say that that is not a spaceship? I mean, I wasn't there physically, but I saw it from the video. It is clear as freaking daylight what it is. And again, unfortunately, like you said, it's jealousy. And you guys, we've got to take that jealousy and flush it down the toilet because it's going to stop. It's going to, you know who it's going to affect? It's if I'm jealous, of this person, is it going to affect this person? No, not in the long run. No, absolutely not. It's going to affect me. And it's going to not only affect me, but it's going to affect my generational line. Because guess what? We all have a generational line. And guess what? We are to give the baton of what we chose to come here and do to the next generation and the next generation. But if I'm jealous and I don't like my own baton, I'm going to try to steal somebody else's. And if not, I'm going to start attacking them. Guess what's going to happen to my generational line? They're going to be lost. They're going to be confused, and they are not going to fulfill their blueprint in their time, in their generation. And it's, I'm so tired of this stupid jealousy and division and crap like that. We really got to, you guys, we got to get it together. We got to, because they're not going to do it for us. We got to do it. They're going to come alongside and help us when we do what we need to do. But as long as we're attacking and jealous and crap like that, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and again, you know, calling things out is important, like just taking accountability, taking responsibility, and protecting. We have a duty of care to protect. I remember years ago looking after a 15-year-old girl. It was her 15th birthday coming up, and she wanted her best friend to come to her party, but the best friend's mother was owned by her sister, right? So this girl, let's call her Sally. Sally's auntie was a demonic horror, and she had this child who she wanted to be at the front of everything. I literally was on the phone with that mother saying, please, will you let your niece come to this 15-year-old child's birthday? Like begging her. And it was no, 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 no. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how ignorant and horrible and stupid and jealous this woman was. And I said, let me get this straight so I understand. Because we won't let your daughter come, because this 15-year-old kid doesn't know her, you're prepared for your 15-year-old daughter to sit in a restaurant on her own and watch the other girls party because you'll do anything to make your daughter there, right? Because the little 15-year-old I was looking after, she had a little bit of, you know, there was a little bit of good notoriety there. They were quite a well-known family. And she refused to let the 15-year-old's best friend come. Hope that's not too confusing, but I'm saying to her, I was like, look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. And I'm like, what are you doing to your own daughter? She'll be humiliated. But she didn't care. And that's people right now. They're going to step on you. They're going to block you. They're going to stop you. They're going to shit on what you say. They are so insanely wanting to be part of it, wanting to be at the front. And it's like, I've been making reels now. I'm saying, oi, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Piers Morgan, let's go, boys. You know, Roseanne Barr, Candace Owen, let's go. Let's finish the job. When those UFOs flew over, Elena Danaan did that. The Earth military know who she is. And people just cannot deal. They cannot deal with that. But she proved it.
Yeah, she did.
Earth military working with the off-planet space personnel who love us and are here to help us. And she's being blocked. We're being blocked. People, that should have made world news. Look at the scummery of people that don't want to share because they didn't make it happen. And I say, shame on all of your heads. You know, because we see who you are, we know who you are, you will not stop the forward movement. Speaking of which, you, lady, at the forefront of the forward movement. Now let's talk about the space arc, shall we, Mrs.?
Yes. So when Elena and I probed inside, it's very amazing. Because as we were going down, we saw a dome, like a dome. And when we went through, and you can hear the frequency like that, kind of like the earth behind you was like that. And as we went through it, there was a different frequency there. It was a boom, 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 boom. And this was the organic plasma. And it was so amazing, Dani, because it was alive. It was a living plasmic entity. And even as Elena and I were, as Dr. Salla was recording us from the mountain, from Bucegi, from the Sphinx, we felt that it was excited. It was so happy that we were there. And this was from also from what Elena confirmed from IA, this was a laboratory with alien technology, very high technology, and it had to be closed because Enlil was taking over, trying to take over. So it was a choice for this laboratory to be shut down so that it does not fall in the hands of the other Enlil and his minions. So, when I went in there, we went to different rooms. We walked in a room and there was the chair, and I sat in the chair. It was the same room. Dr. Salla said to me in one of the questions, he said, Corina, do you think that this is where you were at when you were 4? Was this where they took you? And the only thing I can think of, this was identical. The room was literally identical to where I was when I was 4 years old. Now, I don't know, because I know when I was 4 years old, I was at the Black Sea, but 8 to 10 hours, there's tunnels underneath. They can take you just like that anywhere on the planet or out of the planet. So all I know is that that room looked identical. So based on that, I could say, yes, that was the room that I was taken as a 4-year-old because it was identical. It was absolutely incredible, because I do believe that the fact that this plasma, organic plasma, is still there, pulsating like a heartbeat, it is waiting to be reactivated. It's waiting for the ones that were part of that, that were with it, over it, to return and activate it. So yeah.
It's so magical. And I think, people like you guys also, like JP was in the Space Ark off Daytona Beach, Florida. And, Elena was at the Mount Fuji. There's one at Mount Fuji. When she was there in May of this year, 2024, she felt and heard the same pulsations that you did. And now Jean-Charles is going there. He's making his film in Japan. He's always had a connection to Japan. So it's interesting that the space arcs are activating. Now, it's never, ever a single individual. Like, get over yourself, you silly person. Again, it's important to say, but the thing is, it's actually not everyone's fault, because we've been always raised for the pinnacle, the icon, the leader, the one, the super person, the Superman, no, it's always the collective. That's why when you and Lena and Michael were at Bucegi, the Bucegi Sphinx, right behind you there, I know it was a combination of the 3 frequencies that you are on the planet at such a time as this, at the perfect time. And look how many blocks you got. You almost didn't go, because nobody that isn't of the light, in spirit, wherever, didn't want you to go there. But you did, honey. You did. Thank goodness that you did.
Yeah, I could say all hell broke loose for me not to go. And I was very close to not being able to. And now I understand why. I really understand why. And if you have your viewers that are watching and they are just learning about this, and they're like, what is it, in Romania? What is this with this Bucegi? What is this with the Sphinx? I want to encourage you to read the books that were written by Radu Cinemar, which is called the Transylvania book series. There's 7 books. The first book is Transylvania Sunrise, I believe, then Transylvania Moonfall or something like that. But you can find them on Amazon. It's remarkable. And for us to be a part of that, Dani is just, it leaves me speechless. And it's just so much. There's so much that I can say, but I'm trying to hold back, because certain things I can't say yet. So,
Yeah, I know it is difficult. I will say it is difficult for us. We know that we are, we're not the chosen ones. We don't, none of us accept that. None of us put ourselves out there in that ridiculous way. That's just embarrassing. But we do know, and it's come to pass, that we have put different information into the field, all of us, Alex Collier, Elena Danaan,
Mhm.
Dr. Michael Salla, JP, Corina Pataki, and there are others too. Tony Rodriguez, oh my
Yeah.
God, Tony
Yes,
Rodriguez,
yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And, you know, we aren't at a stage where we can yet put every single thing into the field. You know,
Right.
Elena, Danaan, and I have certain things that we're bringing out, in particular, Elena.
Mhm.
And you also, and it's just, it's not about, holding on. I mean, I just want to go galloping out there like, blah, 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 blah. I've been like pushing disclosure, like
Yeah, yeah.
Elena, can we bring a spacecraft
I
over
know.
at least, like, and she goes, yes, we have to honor the prime directive, I love her accent. I love talking in her accent.
I know.
And we are honoring, but Dani Henderson's down here being a bullshit little mayor going, just push it on a bit faster, please,
I'm like you, Danny. I definitely am. I'm like you. Let's push it. Let's do it. Let's say it. Let's take care of it. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
hear
God.
you. I
Yeah.
I do want to say something you were talking about chosen, not, we're not the chosen ones. I want to make this point because I say it often. Um, there's a scripture that says, many are called, but few are chosen. And I think we have definitely missed what that means. And one day I was preaching, I was doing a conference, and all of a sudden I heard the truth of that saying. And as I heard it, it came out of my mouth through the mic to the audience. Your choice chooses you. All of us, all of us have been chosen because we chose before we came something specific. We chose our blueprint, for instance. Okay. Now, the difference, let's talk about the chosen ones. The difference here is, so we all have abilities, we all have calls, we all have blueprints, we all have mandates. But it is our choice if we're going to step into those, or if we're going to sit back, or if we're going to be jealous and want to jump on somebody else's coat or somebody else's blueprint. So your choice chooses you. We all have the abilities. We all have amazing different abilities. Now, your abilities may be different than mine, and my abilities may be different than that person. But the bottom line is we are all special because we're all fractals of divinity. So in that sense, we are all chosen. The only difference is your choice. If you choose not to walk in your blueprint and do what you know you need to do and you can't do, if you choose to just sit on the sofa and judge and attack, then guess what? You missed your opportunity to walk in that chosenness that you've already agreed, because your choice, my choice, chooses me. So it's like, oh, you're better than me and nobody, I'm nobody. No, that's a freaking lie. We all are equals. We all are fractals. Again, I'm going to say it again. The only difference is your choice chooses you. So if I'm going to choose to walk my blueprint, guess what? I'm chosen because I chose it. But you're chosen too. But you have to choose to be chosen, which means to walk your blueprint. Does that make sense, Danny?
That was, I mean, you can see me like off screen, like, yeah, woo, cheerleading. Land the point. We got to land the point, And, there's so much healing going on in people, and God love us all, God, the gods bless us all,
Yeah.
because, we all need it. We're all, and when things are happening that people aren't part of, or they get so desperate, like, what's my mission? Danny, let me book you for a session. I want to know what my mission is. I always say your mission is to heal, my love. Your
Yeah.
mission is to heal that little child inside of you. That's your key.
Yeah.
And then we don't all have to be running out there and, being star people and, space commanders and bringing in a fleet
Yeah.
of craft and then,
Yeah.
convincing ourselves that it wasn't Elena Danaan that brought the craft. It was actually me over here, or it was the
Mm.
spell I did. It was I called it. And it's happening, and it's sad because it actually gets in the way and it makes a mockery of a beautiful truth. And the beautiful truth is all the truth of the beauty and the history and the mystery of your planet and your solar system It is all being revealed. It is the great reveal. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. And my God, it's bumpy. And people are throwing screens up and they're lying and they're trying it for it not. But they lost, the dark lost, because the light was never in competition. The light just is. But the dark tried to enslave us all, using humans and satanic
Yeah.
and warlocks and witches, and the occult never went anywhere. And then, they wanted Satan to roam the earth again, and it was
Yeah.
about him, being the king, and because he's the biggest loser ever, so he's obviously never going to be, never was, never will. And then before that, we had the reptilians and greys, and they were all working together. And because the greys and reptilians from the Dwight Eisenhower administration have been removed, now the satanics have lost their plug-in. And this is why we're seeing what we're seeing. Again, remember we mentioned the layers, the layers, the layers. Yeah. So, my darling,
Absolutely.
I remember I made notes. I wanted to make the point that you already rewrote the extra memories
Yep.
in your book over the
Yep.
last 2 years. And it is a fantastic validation of truth. I'm so proud of you. I remember when you were
Thank
doing
you.
it, you're like, I'm
Yeah.
rewriting, I feel compelled. I feel compelled.
Yeah.
And oh my
And then
God.
it was hard because, I shared things that were very personal to me, and it was hard for me to put it out there. I'm like, it was like Christians are gonna read it, they're gonna say I have demons, the rest are probably gonna read it, say, yeah, whatever. But I just knew that I had to do it. So, again, Romanian saying, with my heart in my teeth, I just grabbed on and I, sat down and I started putting it all in. And I'm so thankful I did that. But yeah, it was not easy, because it was like uncovering parts that were very personal to me. It's not like, oh, I want to share this with the world. No, it was like, this is mine. This is parts of me, that are very dear, and, they're private. And yeah, I'm so glad I did that. Looking back now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And again, because we want proof, I'm the biggest skeptic I know. Absolutely biggest skeptic I know. If I don't see it, if I haven't, and I've chosen a path of physical proof, which is part of my mission, part of my role,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
I obviously accept. And yeah, it's definitely not easy, and nobody would choose any of the roles that we are in, any of the missions that you and I and Michael and JP and
Yeah.
Tony Rodriguez and Elena Danaan and others are on right now, and Nikki Allen, and oh my goodness me.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, here we are, and this is what we're doing, and we're so excited to bring the beautiful public, more truth for them, more validation for them, more insight into the, histories, mysteries revealed in the way that we're doing it. And again, we're real. We're not editing. We're not editing ourselves. We're not putting on a YouTube persona. Balls, we ain't got
Yeah.
time. We're in a war. Let's get it
Yeah.
done. Let's get it
Yeah.
done. All right,
Oh
my darling.
God.
Let us come to an end. I mean, we just keep, you and I, we're just so alpha. We just keep going and going, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? But we don't want to lose anybody. So
Yes, no,
um
no, no.
let us bring to mind thoughts that you would love to leave with the beloved audience.
Yes. So the thoughts that I have with all of you beautiful audience that are watching this is, remember who you are. You are so special. You are so important. You are so loved. You are valuable. And the way you can find the truth of who you are, listen to me, is you have to take time to go within. Put the remote down, put the keys to your car down, put all distractions down, and make time. Listen, anything that's important to you, you schedule and make appointments for. Is that right? So how much more important is it for you to make an appointment where you are going to do nothing but spend time and go within? Because everything you need, all of your memories, your abilities, your healing, confirmations, they are inside of you. But listen, that takes time. You have to give and spend time with yourself, going in with divine creator, father, mother. This is how you find out. And when you find out how magnificent you are, Nothing is going to stop you from walking out your blueprint. But it's not out here, it's not out there, it's not you looking at what so and so does and wanting that. No, it's you taking time. How valuable are you? How important is it that you find out who you are, that you heal yourself? Then make that time. Danny, we are in this microwave technology, microwave reality, everything we want it like this. It's not always going to come like this, you guys, but how bad do you want it? How bad do you want your healing, your freedom, your memories, your realizations? How bad do you want to start reflecting who you truly are? And when you do that, I'm telling you, it starts with you, with your family, with your little city, with your state, with your nation, and then with humanity. Anything that does not unite, stay away from. Connect with light, love, unity, and healing. And I encourage you guys, go after who you truly are. Remember who you are. And it starts by going in, spending time, go in, not out here, go in. I love you guys.
That was beautiful. Corina Pataki, thank you so much. I want to encourage you guys watching to go subscribe to Corina's channel. Like mine, it is shut down, it is kept small, it is, the boob tube bullies do everything they can to stop the information coming out. Go subscribe to her. Hold your book up, please, so we can remember what it's called. Let me put you on full screen here.
It's called The Quest for Freedom.
Okay. Now, if you sit back a bit with it on your actual chest, it should show up.
Oh.
There we go. We can't see your name, so if you've just there, better. The Quest for Freedom, Corina Pataki, and that is what it looks like. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, I always forget, because I'm a bit of a dimwit, that when someone's showing their book, I'll often talk to that. There's the title but when I'm talking and they're not on screen, it's like, what was the point of that, Dani?
Oh my gosh. Okay,
You think
because it
I get
switches.
it?
Okay. You want me to do it again?
Yes, please. Yes, and I'm not going to say a
So,
word.
so there it is. It's called The Quest for Freedom. Yes, this is how it looks, The Quest for Freedom. And you guys, yeah, when we are on our quest for truth, truth shall take us on our quest for freedom, for sure. But it starts with truth. So
beautiful.
thank you, Dani.
Oh my God, Corina Pataki, is always a joy. I love you so much. I'm so happy that you could come back on my channel and share the next level of work and mission and truth that you are revealing. And again, we're here to do that. And for you guys out there, if you want to see proof with your own eyes of an actual space fleet, real UFOs, but they're not UFOs, they're not unidentified flying objects. They are certainly not UAPs, unidentified aquatic product, or whatever friggin' false name the CIA and the bad military have made up. Ignore, delete. They are identified spacecraft from the Galactic Federation of Worlds, a military faction working here in tandem with the good Earth military, Space Force, Space Command, the Earth Alliance. We proved it. You want to see it? I'll tell you the date. I'll tell you the time. I'll tell you the place. It's going to be May 10th, 2025. It's going to be over the Eastbourne Sea Front. Eastbourne, East Sussex, England. Okay? In the evening. All righty, Roo? Right. So if you've never seen UFOs before, spacecraft, you're going to get an opportunity to come down to the seafront and see with your own eyes. That's all I got to say about that.
Wow.
I knew. It's so exciting.
Wow. Mic drop.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. The whole world needs to see for their own eyes. And that's the thing. People don't believe, and quite honestly, why should they? Until they've seen it with their own eyes or they've had their own physical experience. And that's what we're about on this channel in particular. Right. Corina Pataki again. Mwah, love you so much. I'll see you soon.
Yes.
And
I love you. Thank you so much, Dani,
Yeah.
for having me on your beautiful show. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You are always welcome on this channel, Corina Pataki. Always. Open door policy, open door. And
Thank
for you guys out there watching again, we're on a journey. Yes, it's bumpy. It's going to be so bumpy for a little bit longer. So focus on your healing and help others. You know, if you know Tucker Carlson or Piers Morgan, whatever, send them the footage of the UFO. This should be world news. You want a mission? There's a mission. People keep all these links for themselves. Oh, I'm not ready. My book's not out. My website is so selfish.
you.
Knock it off. Let's move disclosure forward. All right. I'm Dani Henderson. I send you love from my heart to yours, and I will see you all soon. Mwah.